and the leadership putting its hand up and accepting responsibility for this drubbing of a result in Bihar, we now have this curious case where everybody in the Congress party is rushing to protect Rahul Gandhi. Whether it is Rajiv Shukla, whether it is Robert Vadra, you name it, all and sundry are trying to shield Rahul Gandhi from having to face any political fallout of this drubbing that the Congress party received in Bihar. Now, we saw this. This is a familiar pattern. Bihar is not the first state, and may I say, may not be the last either, because we saw this pattern play itself out in Haryana last year, in Maharashtra last year, and now it's playing out in Bihar. Also, did the Congress party, is it guilty of picking up issues that didn't really resonate on the ground, that did not have mass connect? An issue like SIR, which simply did not have any mass connect once the final electoral rolls were published and once the campaigning got started in right earnest. Did the Congress party miss picking up issues which actually mattered to the people of Bihar? We'll have all of that and more through the course of the next 10 to 15 minutes. But first, I want to play out some of these sound bites. This whole movement now to try and protect the leadership, to try and protect Rahul Gandhi from any political fallout or backlash to what has happened in Bihar.
तो मैंने अपने ट्वीट में कहा कि हर चीज़ के लिए आप राहुल जी को, कुछ लोग मीडिया में सब जगह चालू हो गया उनको सोशल मीडिया पे दोष देना। अरे भाई, अभी लोकसभा चुनाव हुआ था, जब वहाँ पे परफॉर्मेंस इतनी अच्छी रही है और ये था कि बिल्कुल सरकार बनते बनते रहेगी, तो उन्हीं राहुल जी की बड़ी भारी तारीफ हो रही थी। यही सारे मीडिया लोगों ने महान चाणक्य बता रहे थे, सब तारीफ कर रहे थे। अब बिहार चुनाव हार गया तो जो है कांग्रेस पार्टी हार गई, तो फिर उनकी आलोचना शुरू हो गई। तो हर चीज में उन्हीं के सर पे पटक देते।
उन्होंने हर चीज स्पष्ट किया था कि ईसी बीजेपी को हेल्प कर रही है, जो गलत है, और अब आगे नतीजे आएंगे, आगे जो परिणाम है लोग उससे खुश नहीं है, पर राहुल और प्रियंका मेहनत करते रहेंगे।
Meanwhile, senior Congress leaders have alluded that this loss is not to be blamed on Rahul Gandhi. That seems to be a pattern in the last few elections. I want to run you through what happened in Haryana, what happened in Maharashtra. So when Haryana results happened, and again, unexpected because a lot of the exit pollsters had said that Congress would have a sweeping victory in Haryana, Team Rahul Gandhi came out and alleged that it was Sarkar Chori. In fact, the LOP held the last two legs of his Bharat Jodo Yatra, about 80 kilometers or so, roughly covering about 12 constituencies in Haryana. And yet, he was not the one who was held accountable for what happened in Haryana, but it was the Election Commission, because the Congress party has been saying that it's the EC that manipulated the will of the voter. Also in Maharashtra, a big state where, again, just 6 months prior to that, the Congress's alliance with Shiv Sena, UBT and Sharad Pawar had swept the Lok Sabha elections. In fact, Congress ended up as the largest single contingent of MPs from Maharashtra. But 6 months after that, in the Vidhan Sabha election, again, it was vote chori that was to blame. Rahul Gandhi campaigned for 14 days in Maharashtra. He covered about 380 kilometers of his Bharat Jodo Yatra. He had 7 rallies in total. But when the elections were lost, it's the alliance partners who got blamed. The Congress did not leave a mark again in the national capital in Delhi when the elections happened earlier this year. The state leadership, poor discipline, those were the reasons for the debacle. It had nothing to do with the central high command. And now in Bihar, where Rahul Gandhi travelled over 1,300 kilometers for his Voter Adhikar Yatra, the poor showing is being attributed to the SIR exercise and not to the leadership.
दुर्भाग्य है कि वो अभी तक समझ नहीं पा रहे हैं, चाहे कांग्रेस हो, चाहे आरजेडी हो, चाहे ये दोनों पारिवारिक पार्टियां इस बात को समझ नहीं पा रहे हैं कि भारत की जनता, बिहार की जनता अब प्रधानमंत्री नरेंद्र मोदी जी का राजनीतिक मॉडल और नीतीश कुमार जी का राजनीतिक मॉडल से संतुष्ट है। वो चाहते हैं विकास की राजनीति, वो चाहते हैं हर एक को अच्छा अवसर मिले, वो परिवारवाद, भ्रष्टाचार और तुष्टीकरण की राजनीति को ठुकरा चुके हैं और 200 से अधिक सीटें देकर उन्होंने एक बड़ा संदेश दिया है कि अब भारत में विकास की राजनीति ही चलेगी, जंगल राज अब भारत में चलने नहीं वाला है।
So I just want to show this in two different maps here on the magic wall. The Rahul Gandhi Yatra, the voter Adhikar Yatra that he undertook, about 1,000 plus kilometers, covering over a number of districts. Did it have any impact on this whole SIR? Did it have any impact on the ground? If you look at the filters on the magic wall, the Rahul Gandhi Yatra, like I said, it started off from Rohtas, which is in the southern part of the state. To try and go back to that Rahul Gandhi Yatra filter, it started off from Rohtas, which is in the southern part of Bihar. It covered about a dozen odd districts. The number of seats, it works out to about 180 seats out of the 243. The sad part here is that for the India Alliance, the entire Mahagathbandhan, they just won 22 out of this 183. The NDA had 158 out of this 183. In fact, the India Alliance as a whole lost close to 60 seats in all of these districts. Like I said, it started from Sasaram here in the south. It covered all the Mithilanchal districts up in the north as well, large parts of Simanchal. And yet, if you were to look at the breakup of the India Alliance out of the 22 seats that the Gathbandhan won out of these 183, the Congress had just 5. Now, what is stark is that this 5, there is no gain at all from 2020. These are the same 5 seats that the Congress won in 2020. It was part of the 19 seats that they won in 2020. These same 5 seats the Congress managed to win this time around in these areas where Rahul Gandhi undertook his yatra. No new seat, no additional seat has been added to the Congress's kitty because of this voter Adhikar Yatra. Now, either, like I said, the message was not inspiring or the messenger was not inspiring, but clearly the results would not have been inspiring for the Congress party. Same is the case with this SIR. So we put it on the map and we said which are the districts in Bihar where more than 10% of voters have been removed from the electoral rolls, and to try and see if there's been any impact of that. Again, there's been no visible sort of uptick as far as the Congress is concerned, and not even for the India Alliance. There are about 106 constituencies where the SIR impact should have been felt the most, a lot of them in Simanchal, quite a few districts up in the north, in Mithilanchal, and a few, of course, in the central part of the state as well. Out of this 106, the India Alliance winning just 14, and if you were to break it up within the Alliance also, the Congress got just one seat, and that too up in Simanchal, one of the northeastern sort of seats. This is the seat, I believe, that the Congress had retained last time around as well, because they've got no gains. So just one seat out of the 106 where the SIR impact was felt most, the Congress managing to just win one seat. So that leads you to the question, did the Congress sort of pick up a wrong issue in SIR? Did it go on and on about SIR? Because if you look at Tejasvi Yadav's speeches and his campaign and his rallies, after the election dates got announced, he didn't talk so much about SIR. He talked about other issues. It was the Congress party, and in particular Rahul Gandhi, who went on and on about vote chori and SIR. Did they pick up the wrong issue? Did the yatra have no impact? And most importantly, why is the leadership not taking responsibility or accountability for this worst drubbing in Bihar? I want to go across to our political guest. Pradeep Bhandari, national spokesperson of the BJP, is joining us. Chitra Batan is spokesperson of the Congress party. Chitra, let me start with you, ma'am, because I showed on the magic wall, SIR had zero impact. Congress got just one seat in out of 106 seats where the SIR had maximum impact. Congress got just one seat. Similarly, on the Rahul Gandhi Yatra, he covered 12 districts, 180 constituencies. Congress won only 5, and all of those 5 seats you had won last time as well. So there's been really no improvement, no additions, no gains because of Rahul Gandhi's voter Adhikar Yatra. And yet, everyone is just trying to protect your leader. Should the leadership not take responsibility, ma'am?
Good evening, Zaka. First of all, let me tell you, the Bihar election results actually show a true picture that voter chori or vote chori was not just a narrative, but it is a need of the hour for people to understand that how their voices are being stifled on and how the valid voters are actually being rejected by the election commissions. You must understand that these elections were not fought on a very level playing field. They were not conducted in a fair manner. Systematic systematic intensive revision or the SIR. It was basically brought in to deport the illegal immigrants. But how many illegal immigrants have been at least found out or deported? None. So what did they actually do? They actually deleted the valid voters who had already voted during the Lok Sabha elections but were not allowed to vote during the Vidhan Sabha elections. So all these and many more pertinent questions and valid questions.
But ma'am, I have the data. I have the data in front of me. I have the data in front of me, and please explain the vote share of the Congress party in the 2020 election. 5 years ago in Bihar, and there was no SIR 5 years ago. In the 2020 election, the vote share was 9.48%. The total number of absolute number of votes that Congress party got in 2020 was 39,95,319. Absolute number of votes, total polled votes for all Congress candidates. In 2025, the vote share slipped from 9.48, it came down to 8.71. But absolute number of votes went up from 39 lakh to 43 lakh 74,579. So overall across the state, more people have voted for the Congress party, but it lost seats, it lost vote share. So your argument that SIR removed Congress voters does not hold, because more number of people have voted. About 3 lakh people more have voted for Congress party in 2025 compared to 2020.
But that's the collective lookout. So if you have these many voters only, cornered into one or two constituencies, whereas you have, systematic gerrymandering done in the other respective constituencies, obviously these type of outcomes will be reflected.
Okay.
So I believe
Pradeep Bhandari, please respond to this.
The manner in which
the Congress party says you systematic gerrymandering, you removed opposition voters who voted in the Lok Sabha, and therefore now they are saying that SIR was the reason why Congress lost in Bihar and Gathbandhan lost in Bihar. Pradeep.
Well, Zaka, I want to show you a picture. This is a picture of a jeep, and the state of the Congress party in Bihar is such that more people can fit in this jeep than the number of seats that the voters of Bihar have given to the Congress party. And a typical Gen Z term suits the Congress party today, that Delulu is the only Solulu that the Congress party today has, because they are living in delusion. And let them live in delusion.
Yeah,
and
Amit
no
Shah
sane
also was in
person can
Delulu,
answer the
right?
Congress
He
party.
said he will win only
Ma'am,
160.
please, one at a time, please, ma'am, no, not like this. Madam, not like this, please, please, madam, no, not like this. One at a time, please, madam, please. I request you, this is not the show where spokespersons speak over each other. One at a time, let Pradeep finish. It's his time, let him finish now, yeah. Pradeep.
So Zaka, at the outset, we are very, very happy in the state that the Congress party is in, because the Congress, if it continues to be in this state, Rahul Gandhi, who has lost 95 elections, he will lose 195 elections. And for us as a main incumbent, we are very happy that we have such an opposition which gives good entertainment. Now, if I take the Congress party seriously and speak on facts and merit, if you recall, in 2010 in Bihar, the Bharatiya Janata Party got a 90% strike rate. There was no talk of SIR then. Congress party was in the Lok Sabha, Congress party was at the center. The election commissioner was not appointed by a panel as it is appointed right now. And still the BJP in Bihar in 2010 with this similar alliance got 90% strike rate. Today it has 88.6% strike rate. Rajiv Gandhi back then had got an 80% strike rate in Lok Sabha, where there was no talk of the SIR. In fact, as I speak, if you recall, there were certain by-elections also which took place. And one of the by-elections in Telangana, the Congress party was at number 1 and we were at number 3. And the Congress got support of the AIMM. We lost, but we did not complain about vote chori. So what is this reflecting? That the Congress party workers understand that the Congress has lost this election because of the Gandhi Vadra family. But the coterie of the Gandhi Vadra family, like the spokesperson and others sitting here, want to protect Rahul Gandhi because they know that there is an imminent division which will take place in the Congress party, where those who are on the ground are openly speaking against Rahul Gandhi, including experienced leaders like Shakil Ahmed and Nikhil Kumar.
Chitra Batam, the point is that, let's look at all of these 3 state elections that have happened in the last 1 year since the Lok Sabha elections. In Haryana, where most pollsters said that the Congress party will win, Rahul Gandhi campaigned there, 80 kilometers, 2 legs, 12 seats. The Congress's excuse at that time was the win was manipulated, the will of the people have been subverted, it's vote chori. In Maharashtra, where in the Lok Sabha election, Congress ended up with the highest number of MPs, Within 6 months after that, Rahul Gandhi campaigned in Maharashtra for the assembly elections, 14 days, 380 kilometers of Bharat Jodo Yatra, 7 rallies. The Congress's excuse at that time was there was arrogance and infighting within the Mahavikas Aghadi that led to the debacle. Again, no responsibility for the Congress leadership. In Delhi, the state assembly election earlier this year, Rahul Gandhi held 3 poll rallies. The Congress's excuse again was poor discipline and accountability, lack of accountability in the state leadership. And now in Bihar, after covering more than 1,200 kilometers, 12 districts, covering about 180 constituencies, the excuse again is SIR. When will it be that the leadership of the Congress party accepts responsibility?
Well, Zaka, let me tell you, in Maharashtra, we got a very great mandate during the Lok Sabha elections, and which is why this alerted the NDA alliance, and they carried, with the help of the election commission, they included 40 lakhs additional voters. The number of voters over there in Maharashtra is more than the population of Maharashtra.
Flat in Bombay
How
High
is
Court.
that possible? How is that possible?
Again,
how is
she's
that
lying.
possible? You tell me that. And then
But ma'am, can I ask you, ma'am, can I ask you one thing, one second, madam, I have a counter question. Madam, I have a counter question. Madam, I have a counter question. In Maharashtra, you are saying, madam, in Maharashtra, you are saying, please, let's have a civil discussion. Madam, please, let's have a civil discussion. Please, one second. There is no point you going on ad nauseum like this. Madam, once again, let's please have a question answer session. Let's please have a question answer session. This is not a one-way, unrecorded kind of a conversation. Madam, please, listen to me. Answer my question. You made a point about Maharashtra. Fair enough. You have said 41 lakh additional voters were there between Lok Sabha and assembly election. In Bihar, you are alleging the opposite. You are saying 68 lakh voters have been deleted. Those were all opposition voters. Therefore, we lost the election. Addition of voters also you are losing election. So subtraction of voters also you are losing election. So what sort of an excuse is this?
The Zaka, allow me to answer that thing. In Bihar, along with the deletion of the voters, along with 65 lakh voters that were deleted without any reason, 21 additional lakh voters were also added.
But that 21 lakh are first time voters, madam. People who've turned 18. Should they not be allowed to vote?
Did the election commission give? No, did they use the form 6? 21 lakh additional form 6 were used.
The election commission has said these are first time voters, people who have turned 18. They should be given the right to vote.
They lied tooth and nail. Why doesn't the election commission give us the number of form 6 that were used?
Pradeep Bhandari.
Details about the form 6 and form 7.
Madam, the election commission is on record. 21 lakh new voters in Bihar. New voters should be given the right to vote when they turn 18.
Then why don't they give us the details of the during the RTI? We had asked for the details of the form 6.
Pradeep Bhandari, you are not disclosing details in the RTI. Election commission is your agent. Election commission has fixed this match for you. It's a fixed match.
The Congress is behaving like that kid who, when repeatedly fails in the examination, starts blaming the examination rules and the monitor. This is why Rahul Gandhi was not a good student in his entire schooling days, because this is what he is teaching to the Congress party. Well, she was speaking about Maharashtra. The Bombay High Court on June 25, 2025 rejected all the plea and said that a day is wasted on such infactual pleas. Let me come directly to the facts. If she has issues with deletion, Telangana also there was deletion of voters in the Congress party swept that election. If she has issues with addition, there was addition in Jharkhand and the India alliance came to power. The only truth is that the Congress party Kotri wants to shield Rahul Gandhi from a dissent in the Congress Karyakartas, because Bihar election was the first election where there was zero recounting and repolling, which means the booth level agents and the experienced leaders like Shakil Ahmed and others understood that the organization of the Congress party is weak. Rahul Gandhi's agenda is anti-Bihar, he is insulting Chhat, and this is why the Congress has lost elections. and it is not for the first time. They tried to shield Rahul in
Shame on you
2014,
for using
tried
false
to shield in
propaganda.
2019,
Who
tried to
insulted
shield
child?
in 2024.
Let's leave it
We
at
are
that.
very, very happy that let them live in this Alice in Wonderland.
Let's see how this
you
how
carry
this
on
plays
with
out
personality.
in the next 6 months. You got elections in Bengal, you got elections in Tamil Nadu, Kerala, Assam, etc. Whether or not the Congress will actually pick up the issues that matter to the people of these states, or will it continue with this whole SIR exercise, vote chori, etc., which seemingly did not have any resonance on the ground, certainly not in Bihar, as I've shown on the magic wall. I want to now move on to the other big story of the day, and that is former Bangladesh Prime Minister Sheikh Hasina. She's now been sentenced to death by the International Crimes Tribunal in Dhaka after the court convicted her of crimes against humanity linked to last year's student protests that ultimately triggered the collapse of her government. Hasina, who's in exile in India, was tried in absentia. The tribunal declared Hasina guilty on 3 counts. First, committing crimes against humanity by incitement. Second, order of using drones, helicopters, and other lethal weapons against peacefully protesting demonstrators. And third, inaction by government amid these mass killings. So the tribunal also referred to a particular audio clipping where she is heard instructing certain individuals, one of them happens to be the mayor of Dhaka, to inflict violence on these protesters, on these students. And the tribunal in fact went to the extent of saying that these are not doctored audio tapes, or these are not AI generated audio tapes, and these are instructions that she directly gave, and therefore it cannot be condoned, and she has been sentenced to death. Now here's what happened during the proceedings today. The tribunal said that Hasina is guilty of ordering the use of lethal force against protesters. The tribunal observed there was inaction on the part of Hasina and her government, resulting in the deaths of more than 1,400 people. She's been found guilty on the counts of incitement, ordering to kill, and failure of control. Former Home Minister A.K. Kamal has also been sentenced to death along with Sheikh Hasina, while former Police Chief Chaudhry Abdullah Al Mamoon has been sentenced to life imprisonment. Meanwhile, Sheikh Hasina has put out a statement, her first response to the tribunal's order today, and in that statement, she has called the tribunal itself rigged and the judgment politically motivated. She has alleged that it was designed to eliminate the Awami League as a political entity in Bangladesh. She's also contended that the extremist figures in the current government want her to get the death penalty, and that Bangladesh is suffering under the violent rule under interim administrator Muhammad Yunus. She went on to say that the International Courts Tribunal was created to scapegoat the Awami League instead of actually seeking the truth. She challenged the Yunus government to take the case to the International Criminal Court of arbitration if they were indeed honest about it, and that she would be acquitted then if at all they chose to do that. Meanwhile, Sheikh Hasina's son, who resides in Washington, spoke exclusively to CNN News 18. He called the ICT trial a sham.
Sir, what is your first reaction to this verdict that has come today?
This verdict was known. This was a setup. This was a sham trial. This was completed within 2-3 months by an illegal government. They had to change the laws to enable this trial, and which can only be done by parliament. And the verdict was predetermined. My mother was not even allowed to hire her own attorneys, her own lawyers. So yes, this is a total sham.
And then how, what from now, the Awami League has already called in a shutdown, but how do you plan to go forward? Because such a sentence, that to a death sentence.
The sentence itself is a joke. My mother is safe in India. What are they going to do to her? This will all get overturned eventually when there is rule of law. Right now, there is no rule of law. And people have responded to our shutdowns in Bangladesh. And we are the largest party. We will fight this. Eventually, this regime will be out soon. And eventually, we will get back the rule of law and fight it.
How do you feel, your grandfather has given his life, your mother has given, you have faced, your family has faced so many things, and then something like this is happening now in Bangladesh?
Yes, unfortunately, it is the Jamaat-e-Islam and the Islamists that are backing this regime. They were the defeated forces from our war of independence. and this is their revenge. But again, for Bangladesh now. It's a matter of the future of Bangladesh, whether Bangladesh returns to stability or it becomes a failed Islamic state with terrorists running free. That is the future. So that is what remains to be seen. We are fighting. Our party is still there. We have the largest number of supporters in Bangladesh, and they are not going to stand for this.
The International Crimes Tribunal finding of Sheikh Hasina guilty of crimes against humanity has given Mohammad Yunus one more reason to create friction with India and set aside other important issues. In fact, he could also launch a global campaign to seek Hasina's extradition from India. Immediately after the verdict, a strong statement was issued by Bangladesh Foreign Ministry asking India to hand over Hasina to the Bangladeshi authorities. Mohammad Yunus, who frequently criticizes India, now has a new campaign to pursue. However, India in its statement says it is committed to the best interest of the people of Bangladesh. This development could lead to further deterioration of ties between India and Bangladesh if both sides does not engage positively in days to come.
All right, I want to go across to Mr. Mohammad A. Arafat. He's the Awami League leader and former minister in the Sheikh Hasina government. Mr. Arafat, the tribunal today in its judgment has been pretty damning and pretty scathing of the former prime minister, saying that she committed crimes against humanity. She gave the orders directly to kill people, that she incited the violence that eventually led to the killing of more than 1,400 people, and that lethal weapons were used directly on her orders. The tribunal also cited one audio clipping today as they were listing out the order. What do you have to say about today's ruling?
Well, about the outcome that we saw today, we're not very surprised about it. We knew that this verdict basically was pre-decided. This is how it was supposed to come. And the whole process is basically a sham. It's a farce in the name of, justice. Because the International Crime Tribunal that was created under the Act of 1973, which is supposed to try the war criminals, those who committed crimes in 1971. This tribunal has no mandate whatsoever to do anything else, but they have basically, amended the act, and which they cannot do it without the parliament. And everything they have done it very illegally. And if you look at the entire team, the prosecution to the judges, to even the state-appointed defense lawyer for Sheikh Hasina, all of them together is actually part of one team. And all of them are somehow linked with the political parties, and all of them are partisan. And I know that I can give you the identity of each one of them, especially the chief prosecutor was the defender of the war criminals. Jamaat is there. He's directly linked with the AB party, which is an offshoot of Jamaat Islam. So basically, they're taking a revenge against Awami League for first thing to liberate Bangladesh, and secondly, to try the war criminals who committed the war crime with the Pakistani army.
You've seen the statement from the foreign ministry in Bangladesh. They're urging the government of India, the Ministry of External Affairs, to extradite Sheikh Hasina. The MEA statement makes no mention of that. They have noted with concern the developments in Bangladesh. What option does your leader now have?
I mean, the government that we see in Bangladesh is an illegal government. They have simply seized power. It's an unconstitutional government. They have no mandate from the people whatsoever. So there's no reason for any international community or any other countries or any government of any other country to listen to what they have to say. That is number one. Number two, they want Sheikh Hasina to be extradited, and for what? For taking forward with this farce that they have initiated. So it's everyone knows this. So therefore, there's no point. I mean, this is just a formalities. This has no meaning.
No, but how do you plan to fight it? I mean, the Awami League cannot contest the upcoming elections. Your leader has now been sentenced to death. She's effectively been declared persona non grata. How exactly are you going to fight this?
See, the thing is, whether or not there's any verdict like this has come out from this ICT or Awami League is banned, the treatment toward us by the Yunus government, backed by all the jihadists, has been the same. So we have to fight it back with the people of the country, and then reclaim our rightful position in the political space in Bangladesh.
But
And we
in
should
the
be able to do
elections,
it.
which
We
are
have
slated for early next year, the BNP could win, or the Jamaat could win, or the newly formed, the Students' Party could win. What happens to you as a political entity then?
the newly formed Students' Party, they're just going to be vanished in a matter of few months or few years. I mean, they have no public or people support at all. Anyway, and the election you're talking about, this election is not going to be acceptable, neither by the international community nor by the people of the country, because it's an one-sided, pre-arranged, rigged election that Yunus is going ahead with, and it is not even an election, because there's no contest. I mean, you're keeping aside Awami League, the largest party in the country, Jatiyo Party, and 14-party alliance, other smaller parties. All of these parties together account for more than 50% of the people. And you're putting them aside and blocking them from the election, and you're saying that's an election. This is not an election. It is just a facade of an election, and they're basically trying to distribute the seats among themselves. They're going to, extend the power that they seize. They just want to hold on to it, to extend it, to give it some kind of a fake legitimacy, but it's not going to work because nobody is going to accept it. So we are going to keep on fighting through the political process, and we will fight back and get the power back to the people of the country.
All right, Mr. Arafat, we'll leave it at that. Thank you very much. Former Information Minister in the Sheikh Hasina government there, giving us his thoughts and perspective. He calls this entire verdict illegal and a sham. And let's see how this plays out and what Sheikh Hasina and the Awami League now plan to do after this pretty shocking sentence that came out from the Crimes Tribunal. I want to move on to West Bengal, where another chapter in this TMC versus West Bengal governor saga is playing itself out, this time over the SIR exercise. Trinamool Congress MP Kalyan Banerjee accused the governor, C.V. Anand Bose, of sheltering BJP criminals inside the Raj Bhavan. He also went on to allege that the governor was arming these criminals with bombs and guns using the facade of the Raj Bhavan. As this political storm intensified today, the governor, C.V. Anand Bose, abruptly cut short his visit to North Bengal. He came back to the Raj Bhavan and he led a live broadcast combing operation and a search operation that happened inside the Raj Bhavan premises to prove the TMC wrong. The search operation, which is the first for the Raj Bhavan, involved a joint team comprising the Kolkata Police, the Raj Bhavan Police Outpost, the CRPF, the Bomb Squad and the Dog Squad. Listen into this comment from Kalyan Banerjee that kicked off this entire political controversy.
This governor has made wild allegations against the state government, against Chief Minister Mamata Banerjee, against police. He has become agent of the Bharatiya Janata Party. If the governor acts beyond his boundary and make political statements, he must have courage to tolerate political statements. You will be governor, but you will behave like a politician. That is not tolerable.
There's a massive controversy that's been going on in West Bengal politically between the TMC and the BJP around the special intensive revision of electoral rolls. I want to go straight across now to the Honorable Governor of the state of Bengal, Shri C.V. Anand Bose. Thank you very much, Your Excellency, for speaking with us here on CNN News 18. A TMC MP, a sitting member of Parliament, Mr. Banerjee, has said that you are actually giving some kind of credence, some kind of safe haven for BJP criminals inside the Raj Bhavan. You are storing weapons there, etc. How would you respond to this political charge that's been made by this TMC MP? And do you believe this has been made without the blessings of the Chief Minister?
See, the allegations made by the Honorable Member of Parliament are baseless, malicious, obnoxious, to say the least. These are not fact-based at all. As soon as I heard the allegations, I threw the dashboard open for public scrutiny. Any representative of the civil society and the media were welcome to come in. Many of the media men were there. They searched every nook and corner of the Raj Bhavan and found that the allegations are highly misleading. Today, I have cancelled all my official duties outside the state. I'm getting back to Calcutta. There is a joint combing operation by the state police and the central forces. We have to establish the credibility and the neutrality of the constitutional office of the governor before the public. This is taken as a test case. This kind of irresponsible allegations, which may incite violence outside, cannot be tolerated. See, in Bengal, there has been a tradition of playing political holy with human blood. That has to go. I am committed to ensure that there will be a violence-free, corruption-free Bengal, particularly during the election time. And if once the guilt of the MP is established, strong legal action will be taken. See, criticizing the governor is okay in democracy, but false allegations which may lead to riot outside and also defame the dignity of the office of the governor, which is constitutional office, cannot be tolerated. Bengal is going to see that they can get away with this kind of allegations anymore. Legal action, strong legal action will be taken, and I have given a decent option to the MP. If he is convinced that he made a mistake, then he has a decent option of apologizing to the people of Bengal. If that is not done, legal action will certainly be taken. And today, after the combing operation, I'll make my mind clear about this and also inform the public about it.
Mr. Bose, if I may ask you, Governor Bose, you have thrown your office open to the public. The media is there. Clearly, this is a political allegation. No one in their right mind will say that the Raj Bhavan is being used to store weapons. What sort of legal action are you contemplating against this said MP? And the second part of the question that I asked you earlier, do you believe this is a comment made in isolation or has the political blessings of the Chief Minister?
I do not want to bring politics into this at this stage. Every aspect of it will be looked into and appropriate action will be taken.
Are you considering some kind of a defamation case against the said MP?
I have got legal opinion in the matter. There is violation of the law of the land and also constitutional violations. Certainly, all steps will be taken, including defamation.
What would you say to this trend in Bengal, particularly, and this precedes your time, of drawing in authorities in high constitutional office like the governor into this political mudslinging?
It's a very ugly situation there. The governor's office should remain neutral. The governor Rajbhavan should be a no conflict zone. I have been trying to see that this is done so. But whatever is required to ensure that Rajbhavan is kept out of controversy will be done. Wild allegations will be treated the way it should be.
Governor, if I may ask you, this whole thing is stemming from what is called the special intensive revision that the Election Commission is undertaking of electoral rolls in Bengal as well as in other states. The state government there has said that this is a disenfranchising exercise. They will not cooperate. State authorities will not cooperate. There are instances which they are alleging of people committing suicide because of fear of not being able to show the documents and their names being removed from the electoral rolls. How do you see this entire SIR exercise that's underway in Bengal?
See, in a democracy, the political parties can air their grievances, their complaints. That is most welcome. But as a governor and also a former civil servant, I am convinced that SIR is an essential part of the democratic process. It is required to ensure that elections are free and fair in Bengal, not only in Bengal. We have seen it in Bihar, how the people have accepted it. Certainly, if complaints are there, if flaws are there, if imperfections are there are checks and balances within our democratic setup which can take care of these things. But I am convinced that SIR is required. It will certainly help the conduct of free and fair elections in the country.
There are certain elements in the state establishment there, the political establishment of the state, who have even said that if things turn violent, then the SIR is to be blamed for it.
That's an empty threat. If violence is resorted to, strong action will be taken. India is a strong country. Ours is a strong democracy. Let nobody think that they can intimidate the authorities and get away with that. The Constitution is supreme. People are supreme. People's sovereignty will be established. Violence will be rooted out.
The TMC has also alleged that this entire SIR exercise is disenfranchising their voters, opposition party voters, particularly minority voters. How would you see that?
That is one point of view. In a democracy, especially in a plural society like India, difference of opinion can come, difference of perception can come. That is part of democracy. There is nothing wrong in that. But truth is truth, and truth will ultimately prevail. Satyameva Jayate.
Very quickly, sir, is there anything that the governor's office is doing to make this exercise appear more transparent and open and democratic? Because like you said, this is a cornerstone of our electoral process.
See, the prime responsibility for this lies with the Chief Election Commission of India. Governor's role is to oversee that constitutional proprieties are observed. We will be vigilant. We are vigilant. We will certainly intervene when intervention is required.
And very quickly, how confident are you that there will be cooperation of the state authorities? If the state authorities do not cooperate, then how will this exercise be undertaken?
The Election Commission is adequately empowered to see that its dictats are translated into action in Bengal as in other states.
And if it doesn't?
Then, of course, the Constitution has got checks and balances within.
Okay, we'll leave it at that. The West Bengal Governor, Honorable Shri C.V. Ananda Bose there, speaking exclusively to CNN News 18. Of course, the immediate trigger point was this absolutely bizarre comment made by TMC MP Mr. Kalyan Banerjee that the Raj Bhavan is being used to store weapons to house BJP criminals, to which the governor has responded that strong legal action will follow. He's opened up the Raj Bhavan to the media, to the general public, to come and look at the entire premises and see if there's any merit at all in these allegations. And once this is sort of submitted in the people's court, as it were, in the public domain, the governor has also said that pending legal consultations, he will take firm and definitive legal action against the said TMC MP. US President Donald Trump seems to be toning down on his rhetoric against Venezuela. He's hinted that he may hold talks with Venezuelan leader Nicolas Maduro. This even as the United States has intensified its military pressure with the latest strike on a drug boat and the arrival of the biggest aircraft carrier in the US Navy, the USS Gerald Ford. The US has now conducted at least 20 strikes on alleged drug boats in the last 3 months alone. So what is behind Donald Trump's Operation Venezuela? I dig a little deeper.
Imagine us people. It allows us to do that, but we haven't said we're going to do that. And we may be discussing, we may be having some discussions with Maduro, and we'll see how that turns out. They would like to talk.
The Trump administration is rapidly escalating its pressure campaign against Venezuela. This week, off the Caribbean Sea, we saw the arrival of America's largest aircraft carrier, the USS Gerald Ford. This carrier strike group is now about to take up a position within striking distance of Venezuela. But President Trump and his aides have not exactly been very clear of what is it that they hope to achieve in Venezuela. Is it a counter-narcotics operation? Is it regime change? Or is it something else? Trump held back-to-back days of meetings this week at the White House, reviewing military options, including the use of special operations forces and direct military action inside Venezuela. If that were to happen, that would be very unusual, particularly in the last 30 to 40 years. It is still not clear whether President Trump has made a decision yet about what kind of action he wants to authorize.
On Venezuela, sir, you've had a lot of meetings on Venezuela. I know you can't tell us what your next steps will be, but can you say, have you made up your mind on what you'd like to do for as far as action?
I sort of have made up my mind, yeah. I mean, I can't tell you what it would be, but I sort of made up.
What do you say to some of your supporters might not be excited about another foreign campaign?
Well, we'll see what happens. I mean, I can't tell you what it is, but we made a lot of progress with Venezuela in terms of stopping drugs from pouring in.
It is possible that Trump is relying on the arrival of so much firepower just to intimidate the government of Nicolas Maduro. The United States and many of its allies say that Maduro is not Venezuela's legitimate leader. Maduro, in turn, has put his forces, his army, on high alert, and that has left both countries with their weapons loaded and ready for war. There were signs that the administration was moving into a new and more aggressive posture. Just shortly after these meetings that happened at the White House this week, the War Secretary, Pete Hegseth, posted on social media that the mission in the Caribbean had now got a new name, Southern Spear. He described the goal of Southern Spear as singular, and that was squarely to remove narco-terrorists from America's hemisphere. With the arrival of the USS Gerald Ford and 3 other accompanying naval destroyers, there are currently 15,000 American troops in the region. That is more than at any time in the last few decades. The last time America had so many troops in the Caribbean and in Latin America was in 1989, when America ousted the regime of longtime Panama dictator Manuel Noriega. Donald Trump has been the most consistent when it comes to what Operation Southern Spear actually means. He has been consistently saying that this is all about drugs. But if you were to take the president at face value, it will not explain why the aircraft carrier, the biggest in the US Navy, had to be rushed from the Eastern Mediterranean Sea to the Caribbean Sea. And you don't need such a huge naval warship to be positioned to attack small speedboats. Now, this same anti-drug, anti-narcotic operation until September or so was dealt by the US Coast Guard and not by the US Navy. Nor would it explain why Colombia or Mexico are not the target countries, but instead Venezuela. In fact, Colombia and Mexico, these 2 countries are the main conduit for drugs, and particularly for fentanyl that comes into the United States, not Venezuela.
Venezuela's government saying that it's doing a massive military mobilization in response to what they call a threat from the United States.
Yeah, they don't have a government. There's an illegitimate regime that's basically a narco-trafficking organization that's empowered itself. By the way, many of the countries represented here at the G7 don't recognize the Maduro regime as a legitimate government. So I don't generally respond to what they're saying. Suffice it to say that the problem we have is that the senior leader of that regime, of that illegitimate regime, is also indicted in the United States in the Southern District of New York.
So far, the United States has launched 20 strikes on speedboats, and that has killed at least 80 people in an operation which many legal experts say might violate international law. There are also reports that Trump has told his aides about Venezuela's huge oil reserves. Venezuela is estimated to have something like 300 billion barrels of oil. Some even say it could possibly be the largest in the world. Trump reportedly had an offer from Maduro that would have essentially given the United States the rights to all of Venezuela's oil without resorting to military action. But for some unexplained reason, and a reason perhaps best known to him, Trump called off those talks and walked back on that offer. And instead now, there is the deployment of the aircraft carrier, which was a means to try and gain leverage over Nicolas Maduro. If that is the case, then it would be a return to the era of gunboat diplomacy. It's a phrase that caught on in the 19th century as great powers used their naval capabilities to intimidate lesser powers, including at that time Venezuela. Venezuela was the target of a European naval blockade from 1902 to 1903, and just as that blockade was coming to an end, the US Navy intervened. They supported Panama, and Panama seceded from Colombia, paving the way for the construction of the Panama Canal. But that was over 100 years ago. Today, the buildup of troops off the coast of Venezuela, and the critical question at the center of it is whether Donald Trump wants regime change in Venezuela. Maduro has been named as the head of a narco-terrorist drug cartel. Under American law, he's being viewed as a narco-terrorist. He's a fugitive from American law and from the American justice system. Could Trump be hoping to install a friendlier government in Venezuela after ousting Nicolas Maduro? But some in the Trump White House deny this theory. Just beneath the surface, the conflict is coming down to a test of wills between Donald Trump and Nicolas Maduro. Maduro has been indicted as the head of the Cartel of the Suns, which is now a designated terrorist organization. The American Armada cannot stay forever in the Caribbean Sea. Either Trump is going to war with Venezuela or Maduro is going to survive this one. It's only a matter of time before there is a more dangerous turn of events off the choppy waters in the Caribbean Sea. Russian forces pressed into Ukraine's eastern towns of Pokrovsk and Myrnohrad during this past week as Kiev has mounted a strong military defense. Ukraine's commander-in-chief Alexander Syrsky said that almost half of the battles that are being fought currently on a 1,000-kilometer front were happening in these two towns. He claims that Russia has committed 150,000 troops, almost a quarter of its strength in Ukraine, just to capture these two cities. Russia sees Pokrovsk as a gateway to the remaining unoccupied parts of the Donetsk. This is a region which it already has claimed as its own since September of 2022. As Ukrainians were gripped by a corruption scandal involving some of the closest allies of President Volodymyr Zelensky, the battlefront was in a fluid state. Neither side seemed to have gained a decisive military advantage on the ground. Both Russia and Ukraine often capture and then recapture neighborhoods and individual buildings from each other's armies. Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky has acknowledged the difficult situation around Pokrovsk, but he's also said that the Ukrainian forces are badly outnumbered, but he does not want to show any sign of ordering a retreat.
Детально говорили сьогодні з головнокомандувачем та начальником Генерального штабу про ситуацію на фронті, на всіх напрямках. Найбільш складно зараз на Покровському напрямку. Там, як і в попередні тижні, найбільша інтенсивність бойових дій. Сильне зосередження росіян. Окупанти всіма методами намагаються закріпитись, кожен знищений окупант. Саме там це результат для всієї нашої.
It did appear, though, that the Russians were slowly gaining ground. Ukrainian troops told Reuters that the defense of Pokrovsk was steadily deteriorating despite the army's efforts to reinforce the city. Russia's Ministry of Defense has said its troops were advancing through Pokrovsk in house-to-house battles. In Myrnohrad, to the east of Pokrovsk, Russian troops were infiltrating the eastern reaches of the town. This week, they made a marginal advance into the northern edge of the city, while Ukrainian defenders firmly held to the bulk of the city. Both of these cities are precariously situated in a Russian encirclement, whether it's from the north, the south, and the east. In fact, escape routes are only available towards the west. It's a three-pronged approach, which means Ukraine is left with just one option, that is either go right into the heart of the battle or to retreat. The operational significance of the seizure of Pokrovsk by Russia depends on whether Ukrainian forces conduct an orderly retreat or a disorderly withdrawal. Also on the ability of Russian forces to exploit the collapse of this wall. Russia's defense ministry has repeatedly claimed that the complete encirclement and surrender of forces inside these two cities, particularly in Pokrovsk, is only a matter of days, if not just hours. Yet, Ukraine has defied Russian expectations. It has continued to fight. It is engaged in active defense using drones for search and strike operations. In October alone, short-range drones had struck more than 75,000 targets. It's a 16% increase on just the 65,000-odd targets that had been struck in the previous month of September. Ukraine's argument for holding cities as long as possible is that it forces the Russian army to expand vast number of troops, leaving it weakened. But there is also a political element, as both sides have been waging a battle of narratives. Kiev wants to prevent Moscow from claiming military successes that could sap morale back home. More importantly, the Kremlin could use these to persuade Donald Trump and his administration that supporting Ukraine is a losing battle. But with parts of Pokrovsk already under Russian control and the adjacent city of Myrnohrad facing the threat of encirclement, military analysts are worried that Kiev might now be repeating its past mistakes. In Pokrovsk particularly, which had a pre-war population of 60,000, if it falls, it would be the largest Ukrainian city to fall since Bakhmut in May 2023.
This is News 18 Network. India's largest news network.
We're now getting you a CNN News 18 exclusive news break. We're learning that the National Security Advisor Ajit Doval has now issued a firm denial after a video of him surfaced online claiming that he'd said that more Hindus are joining the ISIS than Muslims. Doval has now told CNN News 18 that he never made such a statement, calling this viral clip a likely deep fake that was aimed at manipulating public opinion. Doval has also told CNN News 18 that the media tools are now being used to distort national security. So putting everything on record, there is NSA Ajit Doval speaking to CNN News 18 and also talking about how this video that is purportedly attributed to what he'd said, claiming that more Hindus are joining ISIS, is probably a deep fake, and he never said such a thing. My colleague Siddhant is with us on the broadcast. Siddhant, NSA Doval making things clear and also putting into perspective this particular video that's been doing the rounds, possible deep fake.
Well, that's right. In fact, NSA Doval has spoken to CNN News 18, and in fact, NSA Doval issues categorical denial flags over this deep fake video getting circulated. In fact, NSA Ajit Doval has clarified that he never made this statement claiming more Hindus are attracted to ISIS than Muslims. He indicated that the circulating clip is likely a deep fake manipulation. Doval, in fact, told CNN News 18 that media tools are now being used to distort national security. The clip surfaced in the middle of increased geopolitical tensions and domestic polarization. He says that this is an attempt to target India's counter-terror narrative. Such a fabricated statement directly attacks India's long-standing counter-terrorism position. This is against ISIS recruitment in India, has been limited, monitored, and inspired by global jihadi propaganda. The deepfake appears designed to inflame domestic political divides by falsely suggesting that the NSA is making communal comparisons. The operation fits the broader pattern of AI-generated misinformation campaigns. So in fact, in the past also, Manoj Gupta has been reporting on this particular subject, that how Pakistan, ISI perhaps has been making such deepfake videos, perhaps with the aim to do communal divide in India. And perhaps this video of NSA Doval also, which is getting circulated, is an AI-generated video. It is fake. It is a deepfake video. And now this clarification is coming from nobody else but NSA Ajit Doval himself.
Right. Also, Siddhant, way back in 2014, I believe, more than 10 years back, NSA Doval had, in fact, underlined on how fewer than 10 Indians are even keen on joining organizations like the ISIS. Do you think those videos, purported clips, also have been distorted to make it appear that NSA Doval, in fact, made this suggestion that Hindus are more keen on joining ISIS?
Well, that's right. In fact, look, in today's scenario where we may not be at war with Pakistan, but definitely ISI keeps attempting to fuel communal divide in the country. They keep they keep attempting to create some kind of a polarized atmosphere in the country, and that is very continuous, and that is very regular, which they keep doing. In fact, our agencies, our cyber security networks do counter such videos, do come up with the clarifications and expose these handles circulating such videos. But at times people, because the technology has become so advanced and has got evolved so much that at times it gets really difficult for anybody to perhaps understand whether this video is fake or real, and perhaps that is the case with NSA Doval's video as well. And since it was getting circulated, and in fact now we have this clarification coming from nobody but NSA Doval, and Manoj Gupta has managed to speak to him, and he has the version of the NSA Doval. It's a deepfake video. Has been made to fuel communal divide in the country, and perhaps that was the intention. But now the clarification has come, and perhaps definitely the government of India should also be acting against such handles circulating this deepfake video of NSA Doval.
Right. Thank you so much.
Powered by Century Ply, Club Prime, Raho Befikar.
Viewers, for a party that once prided itself on reading the pulse of India, the Congress today refuses to read the writing on the wall, even when its own allies are holding up the mirror. The Bihar drubbing has triggered rare honesty from within the India bloc, viewers. The TMC wants Mamta to lead the India bloc. The DMK is blunt about political messaging failures, saying that the messenger was the problem, not so much the message. And the SP is quietly distancing itself. From whom, viewers? From the Congress